It is March 19th, and I am making the featured recipe for today from the Fanny Farmer kitchen cabinet. Florentine eggs. That's eggs baked on a bed of spinach. As usual, I have never made this dish before, and I have no idea how it's going to turn out. By the way, since all these recipes are from 1914, I thought I would dress the part. Let's get started. To make Florentine eggs, you will need boiled spinach, Parmesan cheese, eggs, bechamel sauce. The recipe calls for a half peck of boiled spinach. That would be 2.5 pounds. Now, the full recipe is for 7 eggs, and I am not making a full recipe. So I'm using an 8-ounce bag of spinach, which hopefully will be enough. Spinach cooks down like crazy. I was a little horrified at the idea of boiled spinach. Then I checked Fanny Farmer's recipe for making boiled spinach, and she says, when young and tender, put in a stew pan, allow to heat gradually, and boil 25 minutes or until tender in its own juices. So I washed the spinach and put it in the pan with the water just clinging to its leaves, and I'm going to wilt it down. It's been 8 minutes, and the spinach is what I would call cooked. I know she said 25 minutes, but I can't do it. I just can't. I mean, she also said until tender. So I am going to call this spinach cooked. Hopefully Fanny will not strike me down. The rest of the recipe says to season it with some butter and salt and pepper. Here is our boiled spinach. Bechamel sauce is, according to Fanny Farmer, one of the 4 basic sauces any cook should know how to make, along with white sauce, brown sauce, and tomato sauce. Bechamel sauce is basically white sauce, but you use milk and chicken stock instead of just milk or cream. This recipe only calls for a small quantity of bechamel sauce. However, it is impossible to make a small quantity of bechamel sauce. Just be prepared for that. To make bechamel sauce, we're going to melt some butter. Now the butter's melted, add the same amount of flour. This is a roux. Now we're going to add equal parts of chicken stock, warm chicken stock, and scalded milk. And that is all there is to it. Florentine eggs starts by spreading 1/2 peck seasoned boiled spinach on a buttered shallow baking dish, and then making 7 depressions. I am going to make 1. This should be more than enough spinach. So just imagine, if you will, that there are 6 other little spinach nests on this baking tray. Sprinkle each depression with 1 tablespoon Parmesan cheese. Slip in an egg. I love that, slip in an egg. I'm just gonna break it right into the nest. Over each, put 1 tablespoon bechamel sauce and 1/2 teaspoon grated Parmesan cheese. Place in a moderate oven and bake until eggs are set and glazed. I'm using 350, and let's start with 10 minutes and come back. It's been about 20 minutes, and I think the eggs are set. It's hard to tell because of the bechamel sauce covering them. Florentine eggs, or rather, egg. And now it's time to taste them. I do not like eggs at all, and I rarely cook them. I chose this recipe because I wanted to stretch myself. But I am not going to be able to give you an objective opinion of this dish. So I have arranged for a special guest taste tester. Oh, Scratch! Hey everybody, this is Scratch. He is my #1 supporter and the person who makes all the fabulous graphics you see on these videos. And he is going to be our guest taste tester and let you know how Florentine eggs are. So just give me your honest opinion.
Well, my honest opinion is that Mina doesn't like eggs. It is warm and filling, which is great because today is very rainy and sort of raw. It's not very exciting. The bechamel sauce is nice. The egg is thoroughly cooked. The spinach is a little bland. It could probably use a little more salt, a little more pepper, or if you were going to make this at home, kick it up with whatever spice that you liked. Like, I could certainly see adding like curry to this or some hot sauce. It's a fine snack. It seems to be pretty healthy, except for the bechamel sauce. And I think it would make a great sort of brunch alternative to Eggs Benedict if people were trying to avoid carbs. I would certainly eat it again if it's not hard to make. It seems like it could be a standard, added to the standard repertoire for somebody.
Thank you so much.
Can I go now?
You can go now.
Do I have to return the eggs?
No, you can take it with you. So there we have it. Florentine eggs, my friends. What are my takeaways from this? First of all, it was pretty easy to make. I did have to cook the spinach first, but that really didn't take very long at all. I didn't follow Fanny's instructions to cook it for 25 minutes. I only cooked it until it was wilted, so that was pretty quick. Do not forget to season the spinach with butter, salt, and pepper, otherwise it is super boring. The bechamel sauce also was pretty quick. The longest part of it was that I had to heat up the chicken stock and heat up the milk before I actually made the sauce. But still, it just didn't take very long. And the spinach and the sauce could be made in advance. One of the challenges was how long should I cook it for? I am very inexperienced at cooking eggs, and I realized when I was checking them in the oven that the white bechamel sauce made it really hard to check if the whites were set. I ended up cooking them for 20 minutes, and Scratch said it could have gone a little less, but they were definitely not cooked at 15. So somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes, let's say 17. 8 ounces of spinach turned out to be more than enough for a single egg. So I think if you were doing 1 egg, you would probably want about 5 or 6 ounces of spinach. Really, if you were going to do 7, you would want 2.5 pounds, just like Fanny Farmer recommends. I think if I were going to make this again, instead of doing it on a baking sheet with the little egg depressions, I would probably make it in individual ramekins and put a layer of spinach on the bottom, and then the cheese, the egg, sauce, and the cheese. That way, because you're not preventing the egg from running away with a wall of spinach, you might be able to get away with using less spinach. And the other thing I would probably do differently is just before taking it out of the oven, run it under the broiler to brown the bechamel sauce. Why not? And like Scratch suggested, if you're not going to stick too closely to the 1914 recipe, do feel free to add your own favorite seasonings to it. I think that's everything. So, happy cooking and enjoy your Florentine eggs.